Hello, it is me, Strong Earth Creations, and for today's video, I'm going to be doing a tier list of different yarn brands, types, mostly from Michaels, a few from Joann's, but this is all from personal experience, so maybe this will let you know what yarns are worth your while and what yarns you should avoid at all costs. So let's get into it. I'm trying a new little format here, so hopefully it works out. So here are our tiers. We have Absolutely Superior. These are going to be yarns that are my ride or die. I would choose this yarn over literally any other yarn possible. Superior color range, superior softness, feel, price, everything. Absolutely superior. The next we have Love. Will always be a reliable choice. These are yarns that I will always get when I'm at Michaels or Joann's. Yeah, it might not have everything that I'm looking for, but I know that I can always rely on this yarn at all times. Then we have I like it, but there's definitely some flaws. So these are going to be yarns that I do really like, but there's just probably one thing or two things that I really wish that they would change. So that makes it so I can't put it in Love. Then we have meh. I guess I'll use it if I have to. Like if I can't find any of the other yarn that I'm looking for from the Love or the Like, then I guess I'll use it, but definitely not my first choice. And then the last here, literal demon spawn. Kill it with fire. Avoid these yarns with a 10-foot pole. Don't even go near them. Absolutely horrible, horrendous. No. So let's start. Let's get to ranking. All right, so this is Impeccable by Loops and Threads. This is a medium 4-weight acrylic yarn at Michaels, I'm pretty sure. I love this yarn. Like, okay, so when I first started using it, I didn't think that I really liked it. I thought that it felt a little cheap, and so I stopped using it for like months and months. But I feel like they changed something in their formula or like how they made it, and now it's just so soft and literal like best color range. I love this yarn. This will always be a reliable choice yarn for me. I feel like it's super affordable. I feel like they raised the price recently though, which I'm not a fan of, but I still love it. I feel like this has probably one of the best color ranges for yarn at Michaels in the acrylic section. So I love that yarn. Will always be a reliable choice. I'm gonna keep going with the acrylic yarns here. Next, we're gonna do Red Heart Super Saver. This yarn is also medium 4-weight acrylic yarn. Pretty affordable, really affordable. Solid color range, definitely could use some improvement. The color that I always get from this yarn is either their dark forest green or the like coffee brown, like mocha brown color, because I just can't really find it like the color that I want in other yarns. The one downfall with this yarn though is that it's kind of rough. Like it's really not as soft as every other acrylic yarn at Michaels, which is confusing because I'm like, what are they doing differently? Like why is this one more rough? So that's why I'm gonna put this in. I like it, but there's definitely some flaws because it is a good yarn. It like works perfectly fine, works just as well as Impeccable by Loops and Threads, but the feel of it is just not what I look for when I'm looking for acrylic yarn. So the next acrylic yarn we have is Craft Smart Value Yarn. If you haven't used this yarn, what are you doing with your life? If you are looking for acrylic yarn, why aren't you using this one? It is literally the most affordable, amazing color range, so soft. Like I feel like you get more yarn in this scheme than Impeccable Loops and Threads for some reason. I don't know why. And it's like the same price. I think maybe even a little cheaper. I'm not positive on that. And that is why this yarn is absolutely superior. This is my favorite yarn. Like if I'm going to Michaels looking for acrylic yarn, I'm looking for Craft Smart Super Value. I'm walking straight there, seeing my colors. If I don't see the color I want there, I go to Impeccable. If I don't see the color I want there, I go to Red Heart. So this is just perfect yarn. Next we have Joann's Big Twist. Now I don't ever really shop at Joann's. I feel like they are more expensive than Michaels. They don't have as many deals, as many sales as I want. And I think I just like Michaels' rewards system better. So I don't really ever shop at Joann's, but if for some reason I cannot find any of the colors that I want, or I just feel like going to Joann's for some reason instead of Michaels, I will always get Big Twist. And honestly, I feel like I should get it more often because I love this yarn just as much as I love Crafts Value yarn, honestly. This yarn is so amazingly soft, amazing color range, and it's pretty affordable. I think it might be the tiniest bit more expensive than the other yarns here, but honestly, it might be worth it because this is just a top tier yarn, absolutely superior. So that is all the like acrylic medium 4-weight yarns. Now let's get into the blanket yarns, the chunky yarns. Let me like get all the chunky yarns together. All right, so here's all of our chunky yarns. We have a lot of chunky yarns. So starting with Bernat Blanket Big. So I have only ever gotten this yarn either secondhand or on sale. I do not think that it is worth the full price, but it's a solid yarn. You know, it has an okay range. Working with this yarn is really hard. It really hurts your wrists. Like, it's just not really a fun yarn to work with. And if you're trying to make a blanket, you're gonna have to buy like 5 of these, and that goes to like $40. And honestly, that's kind of how it is with all the blanket yarns. I'm never really the biggest fan of them. I'm gonna put it in meh. I guess I'll use it if I have to, but I want to use different yarns, not this one. Next, we have Bernat Soft and Chunky. For some reason, this yarn is always on sale at my Michaels. Always in a big bin that says 99 cents. This yarn is always 99 cents at my Michaels. I have no clue, and it's always the gray color. It's like gray, orange, dark green, white, and maybe red. This is actually the first yarn that I ever used to crochet with, so this yarn definitely has a soft spot in my heart. It was really easy to work with. I feel like it's very soft and a perfect bulky yarn if you're looking for that. I made a blanket. That was my first ever crochet project. I made a queen size blanket, and I was able to spend like less than $20 on just the yarn, and I was able to make an entire blanket. So I feel like the only downside with this yarn is that it does like get fuzzy over time, like it pills a little bit, but overall I feel like it does withhold really well. So I'm gonna put this in love. This will always be a reliable choice if I'm looking for a chunky yarn that I need for like a blanket or something. That's perfect. This is a perfect yarn. Okay, next we have Karen Cakes. Literally any of the Karen Cakes. I'm not the biggest fan of like the Karen Big Cakes, the Karen Thin Cakes, Karen Cotton Cakes. I feel like the colors that they have are honestly pretty ugly. I don't know why they put certain colors together. I feel like when it works up, it just doesn't look that well. Like, I'm just not the biggest fan, and I feel like it's overpriced, and you will never really find these yarns on sale. So, meh. Like, I still have an entire thin cake from a single project that I made because I haven't found any other use for this yarn. Like, not the biggest fan. Oh god. Next we have Bernat Velvet, or literally any velvet. Any velvet yarn, kill it with fire. I don't understand anybody that will willingly use velvet yarn. I feel like it is just overall the worst possible yarn that you could ever use. It literally tears in half while you're working, and it's because it's so like slippery and shiny, the stitches will just fall apart. Like, I tried with this yarn, I tried with any velvet yarn, and every time I start working up, I'm like getting progress, the stitches fall out, fall apart. Like, there's no saving it, and then it just will randomly rip in half. I hate this yarn. I hate any velvet yarn. Kill it with fire, literal demon spawn. The next chunky yarn we have is Lion Brand Homespun. So this yarn I actually got as a gift, and they got it secondhand. So I've never actually bought this myself. I don't really know the full color selection, but the one that I did get, I really liked it. I feel like it was a really, really soft yarn. It works up so pretty. The color that I got was like really gorgeous, and it's a really interesting texture. It's like wavy for some reason. It has like a thread going through it, and then the yarn like waves around the thread. But because of that, the downside that we have there is that it kept getting like stuck. Like when I was crocheting, it like would get stuck in the yarn, and it is impossible to frog. Like it really is not a good idea to make mistakes using this yarn, because it's going to be really hard to undo those mistakes because the yarn just like clumps together for some reason. I don't know. But I think this is a really pretty yarn, so I'm going to put it in. I like it, but there's definitely some flaws. Then we have Charisma by Loops and Threads. So this was the second ever yarn that I worked with. So as you can see, there's a trend. I liked working with chunky yarns at the beginning. I feel like they were easier to work with than the medium 4-weight acrylic yarns. So I made a cardigan with this yarn. I used a bunch of different colors, including this specific color right here, actually. And I liked the yarn. Obviously, I didn't really know what a good yarn was at the time, but after trying out different yarns, this is definitely a like it's a good price, it's a solid color range, but when I was using it, all of the like I think it's like a 3-thread yarn, they just kept splitting. They would not stay together, and it made it really hard to work with. And after some wear of the cardigan, it definitely fuzzes out and pills, and I feel like this is just not a long-term yarn, you know what I'm saying? So I'll use it if I have to. I think it's a nice yarn, but I would rather use different chunky yarns. Then we have Wool Ease by Lion Brand, and this is just a pet peeve of mine. I've actually never used these yarns, and that's because whenever I go to Michaels or Joann's and I see a yarn that's advertised as wool, literally this one's named Wool Ease, guess how much percentage of wool it is? Not even majority. Max 20% wool. Everything else is acrylic or a fiber blend, and it is never actually majority wool, and it's always way overpriced. I've never understood this. Like, why would you buy a yarn that's advertised as wool and then you're not even getting wool, but you're having to pay the extra money for wool? Wool, 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 wool. I hate this. I hate it. I just think it's a scam. It's a pyramid scheme. They're trying to get your money. Okay. This I've also never used, but I don't even know what yarn this is, but every time I go to Michael's, it looks like hair, like synthetic hair, and it just freaks me out and like gives me a visceral like bodily reaction. And I have no clue what anybody would ever use this yarn for. So I'm putting it in literal demon spawn because I don't know why. I have no clue why this yarn just freaks me out, and I like, what do you make with this? I don't know. Like, how big of a hook do you even use with this? I don't know. All right, next we have Bernat Blanket. This is just a regular blanket size yarn. I used this to make a baby blanket, and you know, it was an okay yarn. Honestly, same with the Charisma Loops and Threads. This one split as well. Like the 3 or however many yarn threads that they use always split. So it was kind of hard to work with. Really soft yarn though, but also kind of same with the Bernat Blanket Big. It really hurts your wrist over time as you're working with it. But you know, there was really nothing wrong with it. Personally, I wouldn't really ever buy this if it wasn't on sale or if someone else was buying the yarn for me. That's the only reason I used it, was because someone bought the yarn for me to make a blanket for them. So I'm gonna put it in, I like it, but there's definitely some flaws. All right, then we have is this Bernat Blanket Ogo yarn. I actually love this yarn. This is what I make majority of my amigurumi out of. I literally have an entire collection of just Ogo yarn. I've only ever bought it on sale though. Never ever. Do not buy it if it's not on sale. It's definitely not worth the money not on sale. But when it's on sale, and Michaels for some reason always has this on sale for like $3, I will always get it because I feel like you get the perfect amount of yarn to make a small project for amigurumi or whatever you're needing your yarn for, and you get a lot of different color ranges. So I'm gonna put it in Love. This will always be a reliable choice for me when it's on sale. Next we have Snuggle yarn, or honestly any chenille yarn. This is superior to me. I love any chenille yarn. Chenille yarn is what velvet yarn wishes it could be. Like, this is what velvet yarn wants to be and can't. So chenille is just like so soft. It never tears. It works up so nicely with amigurumi. I feel like it always looks so perfect with amigurumi. I've actually never even used this specific brand. I've only ever bought in secondhand chenille yarn, but any of them that I've used, I absolutely love. So absolutely superior. All right, so now we have these miscellaneous yarns here. So let's do the cotton yarns. I'm going to start with the regular Lily Sugar and Cream cotton yarn. Okay, so I've used this yarn a lot. I obviously like it, but I wish that there were more cotton options at Michaels and Joann's. Like, I feel like this is kind of my only option for cotton yarn for an affordable price, and even then I still feel like it's kind of overpriced because you're really only getting like half of a skein of yarn than like the regular sized skeins, and you're paying more. So I know that it's like a better material, but I don't know, and it's not even like, it doesn't feel that good. Like, it's pretty rough. So I'm gonna put it, and I like it, but there's definitely some flaws. I wish that there were more cotton alternatives that were a cheaper price and better feeling. But, you know, I'll always use Lily Sugar and Cream because it's what's available. Then I'm gonna go into Lily Sugar and Cream scents. I don't even have to say it. This is literally the most demon spawn yarn that I've ever used in my life. I accidentally bought the scent. I didn't even know that it was a scented yarn. It was this specific colorway too. I was just trying to make some cute little water bottle holders, and I go to use this yarn. It is the most pungent lavender scent that I've ever smelled in my entire life. It literally gave me the biggest headache, and I had to put it down. I had to set it by my open window to let it air out overnight. I woke up the next morning, still so fragrant. Literally filled my entire room with this pungent lavender scent. I hated it, so kill this with fire. Then let's go into Karen Simply Soft. So I've only ever used this specific color, the forest green, and honestly, it took me a really long time to find a good project to use for this yarn. I tried making a top with this, I tried making a cardigan, I tried making a bag. Nothing was really working. It was just like, I don't know, it kept going in on itself and like bunching, and it wasn't cute, and the yarn got stuck together when working with it. It was hard to frog. I tried winding it into a cake, and the fuzzies gave me the worst like sniffles and sneezes. It got all in my nostrils. Not a fun time, but I did end up making a super cute cardigan with this yarn that was actually in my How I Style Crochet video and my What I Finished in August video. So because I loved the finished product that I made with this yarn, I'm gonna put it in I like it, but there's definitely some flaws because I probably wouldn't really reach for this yarn again, but I did really like how the yarn came out, and it's really soft. It is really soft. Like, they definitely got that right. But there's some flaws. Then we have Mandala yarn. I think this is a Lion brand. I have only ever gotten this from Joann's on sale, and I love this yarn. I'm gonna put it in, I'm debating between Superior and Love. I think I'm leaning towards Superior. I think that Mandala yarn is what Karen Cakes wishes they were. Like, the colorways in Mandala yarn is so amazing, like so much better. I used this specific colorway, the like bright rainbow, to make a cardigan, and it came out so cute, and I always got compliments on it. And I've used different colorways before, and I really like their colorways a lot better than any Karen colorways I've ever seen before. And I feel like it's a pretty solid price. And when it's on sale, like, you can't beat it. I only needed 2 to make a hexagon cardigan, and it's just perfect. And it's like, it's a thinner yarn than a regular medium 4 acrylic yarn. And I don't know why, that just makes the project like flow a lot easier. So I love this yarn. I will always pick this up if it's on sale. So love. Oh my god, next we have scrubby yarn. What is scrubby yarn? What do you make with scrubby yarn? I have never known. I don't think I'll ever find out, honestly. Somebody tell me, have you ever used scrubby yarn and what did you make? I don't know, it freaks me out. Same with this one. I think this is a Lion brand yarn as well. The ice cream yarn. What is this yarn? Why is it always in my Michaels like on their own display and it's only this color? I think it's so ugly. And why is it more expensive than like the other yarns there? I don't know. I've never understood it. Why is it like $1 more than regular yarn? Why is it the ugliest colorway I've ever seen? I have a hatred for this yarn that I can't even explain. Next we have, I think that's Bernat baby yarn. I used this to make a baby blanket and it came in like a giant skein. It was like a jumbo skein for like $11 or something. And I was able to make an entire baby blanket, a matching beanie, little bow tie, and then I was also able to make a like large shirt as well. So for some reason, like that large, huge jumbo skein was like perfect for what I needed. So I'm gonna put it in like, honestly, because like the colors weren't that great. And whenever I think of baby yarn, I always think it's gonna be a lot softer than regular yarn, or like, I don't like, because it's like sensitive skin. I don't know. I don't really know the difference between baby yarn and regular acrylic yarn. Like, is it hypoallergenic? I don't know why it's more expensive, but this was like, it didn't even feel as soft as like the acrylic yarn that I like. So I'm gonna put it in I like it, I guess. Like it was there, you know? Okay, the last one, honestly, I don't know why I added this, but for some reason, whenever I see this brand at Joann's, I feel like it's calling me poor. Like, why is it so expensive? And I understand it's like better materials. Like I think this is like wool or alpaca yarn, I think they even have, or like just different blends of yarn, but it's just so expensive and the skeins are like this big. They're so small. So I don't know. I just feel like it's calling me poor every time I walk into Joann's, and that's why I'm putting it in Demon Spawn. This is also another yarn that I just have a hatred for that I can't even explain because I've never used it and I've never bought it. And so I'm just gonna pass. But here's my final tier list. I feel like this is pretty good. So if you ever are looking for acrylic yarn, always use Craft Smart Value or Big Twist from Joann's. If you're looking for amigurumi yarn, always use Chenille Snuggles. And if you're looking for some really cute ombre and like stripy yarn, always use mandala yarn from Lion brand. But yeah, that's my tier list. I hope that you guys liked it and enjoyed, and this was entertaining for you. This was fun for me to do, honestly. But yeah, I will be back next Tuesday for a tutorial video. Like, subscribe, comment, follow me on Instagram at Strong Earth Creations, and bye!